You're with
Melbourne's most lovable
Big gay voice.
Dean Beck.
if you want someone else.
Listen to Real Radio.
Matthew Wade is the Victorian journalist for starobserver.com.au. Matthew, thanks for joining us on the line.
Thanks, Dean. How's it going?
Very well, thank you. Now, scientists in Melbourne and Sydney will take part in a new $30 million global project to accelerate the search for an effective HIV vaccine.
Yeah, so it's a new initiative that's just been announced, and basically scientists from across the world, so in Europe, the US, Canada and Australia, will basically work towards developing an HIV vaccine, but in a more collaborative kind of way using this $30 million project. They'll be part of about 22 different institutions around the world, and the idea is, I guess, by pulling together their expertise and knowledge, it'll help them move more quickly towards their goal.
And Doherty is centre front in that, and they'll be hosting the World AIDS Day events. Is Burnett involved in that as well, do you know?
I don't know if that Burnett, it's definitely the Kirby Institute and the Doherty Institute, though, yes.
Now, in other news, members of police will be marching in Adelaide's Pride March for the first time this weekend.
That's right. So, I mean, for all we know, there have been police officers that have marched, not in uniform before, but this will be the first time they'll actually be in their gear, marching along with everybody else. So it's a really exciting thing, and it's kind of happened at a few other places as well. So, first of all, earlier this year at the Brisbane Pride Festival, the police marched, and also last week at Tas Pride in Hobart, the police marched. So now they will be at Adelaide as well, and also at the upcoming Perth Pride March. So it's kind of a really big year in terms of police support for the LGBT community. And
it all kicked off here with our former Chief Commissioner, who started it off many years ago. Now, the Adoption Equality Bill is currently being debated in Victoria's Parliament. How is that going? Do you know? Because it's a little rocky, I believe.
Actually, it is, but it actually isn't starting until this afternoon, so we'll probably know by the end of the day. Earlier this morning, a number of Rainbow families and politicians gathered around Parliament to kind of voice their support for the reforms, but I think the actual bill won't be debated until later on this afternoon. Obviously, to pass, it requires a majority of votes, but up until today, about 20 out of the 40 upper house MPs have declared their support, so at the moment it looks pretty promising.
Now, the Spent Convictions Bill was passed unanimously by the ACT Legislative Assembly.
That's right, yeah. The bill was introduced earlier this year to amend the old Spent Convictions Act as a way to, I guess, allow people who were convicted of, the archaic consensual homosexual offences back in the day to have them permanently erased from their record. And it was brought up about a week ago in the Legislative Assembly in Canberra, and it was agreed to without amendment and unanimously, so it's a great move.
And Ireland has called on Australia to change its marriage laws.
Yeah, in Geneva recently, over the last few days, the Human Rights Council's periodic review group called on Australia to basically catch up with nearly every other Western country on the issue of marriage equality. Ireland, the Netherlands, Iceland, they all basically were saying, they encouraged Australia to take a step forward towards equal recognition of same-sex marriage. And we're basically saying that currently Australia's Marriage Act is quite discriminatory.
Well, it's interesting, Ireland's sticking it up us. Well, fair enough, They did pretty well over there, but I don't know whether they had, was it, a referendum? I'm not
That's
sure.
Right, they did, yeah.
Yeah, which we're now pointing to as the way to go. So thanks for that, Ireland. It might work for you. Let's hope it works for us. Maybe
well, I just
not.
think that, considering, the fact that they've all kind of moved forward beyond us, it almost is a little bit embarrassing and shameful that we're still so far behind and they're kind of calling us out on it, which, rightfully so, but I feel like, it really shows just how much, we're stuck in the past in relation to this issue.
Now, Matthew Wade, you must have a print edition just about to hit our Level 9 225 Burke Street.
It will be out shortly. I think it'll probably be out in a week or so. But very, very soon. So the deadline's passed. It's on print now. So anytime now.
Can you give us a hint as to any big stories that you've written for this one? Just a little hint.
Oh, I can. Yeah, I can say more broadly that it will definitely be. There'll be a large focus on HIV and AIDS, given that the issue will be coming out, right before World AIDS Day. So there'll be a lot of content around that. But I don't think I can specify any specific articles, but I will say that a lot of it is related to that.
All right then. Well, thank you for that. You keep well, and thanks for joining us on the line today.
Thanks, Dean.
Joy 94.9 is a GLBTIQ community radio station in Melbourne, Australia. Support Joy 94.9 by becoming a member at joy.org.au.